President Obama making a shocking comparison at the National Prayer Breakfast, equating Muslim extremism to Christianity.
And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ.
Well, our next guest is appalled by this analogy. Bishop E.W. Jackson from the Called Church and the founder of Stand joins us now. Bishop, thanks for joining Fox and Friends here.
Thanks for having me, Elizabeth.
What place did Christianity and Christ have in that equation yesterday at the National Prayer Breakfast?
You know, Elizabeth, I have a message for the president with all due respect to him and to the office. Mr. President, if you don't want to give terrorists a recruitment tool, instead of closing Guantanamo Bay, frankly, sir, you ought to close your mouth, because you just gave them a gigantic propaganda tool. They called us crusaders, and you've just confirmed it. Mr. President, we're not on our high horse. What we are is on high alert. And the American people would like for once to know that you're willing to defend Christianity and defend America instead of defending Islam.
Bishop, you served in the Marine Corps for 3 years. You're a veteran. When you talk about propaganda, the only thing propaganda does right now is help recruit for ISIS and strengthen the enemy. For our veterans right now and our military personnel, how much more danger did those words actually put our service members in?
Oh, I think he's given them a gigantic recruitment tool. He's told them, once again, he's apologized for America. He's conjured up the image of crusaders. And he's basically justified exactly what Osama bin Laden was saying, that we are encroaching on them. I would remind the president that the Crusades began in 1096 as a response to Islamic aggression and the fact that they had conquered the Holy Land and they were oppressing Eastern Christians. And there was a response to that. So if the president is even going to cite that as an example, then he ought to get his history complete.
Well, Bishop, you just did something the president won't do. You used the word Islamic. Let me ask you this. Not only did the president not protect Christians and, in fact, really go after them, attacking them by invoking the name of Christ yesterday, some would say, but he continued on the path of not calling the enemy what it is, not saying radical Islam. Don't you believe that in not saying that, he's actually protecting radical Islam by not calling it out?
You know, I don't know how to explain this, but this president does everything he possibly can to defend Islam and does almost nothing to defend the honor of this country. And yes, once again, he's giving them exactly what they want. And, you know, Elizabeth, they're laughing at us because all they see it as is a sign of weakness. And America needs to operate from strength.
I want to ask you now for a strong message to Christians who feel as though they came under attack yesterday by the President of the United States. What is your word to those of faith today?
Pray for our president. I think he's deeply misguided and confused. Pray for our country. We need leaders who will defend the integrity of our nation and to continue to stand up for what you know is right.
Strong words. Bishop Jackson, we thank you for being with us today and your time.